Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is shining and the living is easy and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle featuring spawning in the north. It is going to be the Overcommand West pieces of Lieutenant Baumy. And spawning in the south, we're going to have the United States forces of HOI's Chessmaster, who then has some Chinese characters here that I actually don't recognize any of. I feel like I should know this one. That one looks really familiar. But anyway. Yep, the map here is going to be Gleize Breakout. A map which actually I haven't cast for what feels like some time, so very much looking forward to seeing how this one breaks down, now that we're in the new sort of modern age of Company of Heroes 2, I suppose, if you want to call it that. Since the Winter Balance patch came out, I feel like the game has changed significantly and is almost like a sort of different version of the game. So yeah, very much looking forward to seeing what these two players are going to do. I feel like I also haven't cast a lot, maybe any? Definitely I haven't cast a lot of USF. No, I have definitely cast USF, but just not very much. Since the new patch dropped and all of the new things are going on in this game. So will be cool to see just exactly what HOI Chessmaster decides to do here, and just exactly how the USF pieces fare against their OKW opponents here. Now let's take a look here at the opening builds. Nothing too... Okay, nope, sorry, just as I say that, Chessmaster going to go ahead and do something a little bit spicy. He's going to go ahead and pick the lesser spotted mechanized company here, so I'll just leave that there on the screen. Just hit pause on the YouTube channel if you want to refresh your memory of what the mechanized company offers you, these 5 abilities here. Fair to say that we don't see this this doctrine picked particularly often. And we're going to see the WC-51 military truck get called into the field. That's 240 manpower, 20 fuel actually, is pretty steep. But remember, of course, if he gets to survive until 2 command points, he can withdraw and refit that one, get some money back, and it is a potent harassing unit in the early game here. Probably also a pretty good counter for the Kubelwagen too. So we'll see what's going to happen here. The Kubelwagen's going to reveal itself just now. Storm Pioneers here in support. Rifleman gonna just slink back out of range for now. I guess these Storm Pioneers are gonna want to try and take the church, but the Rifleman here gonna deny them. That actually leaves the expensive borderline elite infantry here in the open, taking a ton of Garand fire here. That's actually just what the OKW player does not want. So nicely done here by HOI Chessmaster. Microing quite nicely here, going to keep popping his Rifleman in and out of that for now. And looks like the WC-51 crew going to hop on out and start decapping over here. If I crack the tack, we can see that I think it's safe to say the American player getting off to a pretty good start here. Just able to control a couple more points than his Axis opponent. And getting slightly ahead in the damage. Whoa, what on earth happened here? Somehow these Storm Pioneers have forced these Riflemen back. Did they just get a good side with no windows and start out-damaging the Riflemen? I feel like that's what happened here. Missed that because I was on attack, sorry about that. Kind of got just a couple of small exchanges going on here. Let's have a look at the commanders here. Elite Armored Doctrine. Okay, I haven't seen him used for ages, but nice to see that Baumy keeping him on the roster. It would be sweet to see some Storm Tiger Edge, actually. You know what, I haven't seen or even used a Storm Tiger in way too long, and man, I used to love that unit. There's for those of you who haven't seen it already, there's a pretty old compilation video on the channel of Magpie's greatest Storm Tiger hits, and like, there are some pretty sweet hits in that video. If you want to see what the Storm Tiger can do, just search on my channel for like Storm Tiger hits or Storm Tiger greatest hits maybe. I tell you what, if you just search for Storm Tiger, you'll find the video on there. It's a pretty entertaining watch. But anyway, yeah, not like a massive amount of action in the early stages here. It looks like these Riflemen are going to get up on top of these folks. They have to be a little bit careful. I mean, a Schwerver Max Schlepper is out on the field, and oh, of course it's not deployed yet, so that's why we don't have Faust. Okay, so no danger of getting Fausted just yet, but having Riflemen in a truck like this is still risky. I mean, like, the Schwerver Max Schlepper is just now constructing, which, by the way, looks like we've actually got a mechanized company opening here from Baumy, so already curious to see what he's going to do with the mechanized company opening. Have to think it's going to be angling towards a Luke's here, a Panzer II, but we will see. We will see. You know, actually, as these players just sort of skirmish around and this battle gets fully underway, I'm just going to take a second to mention, actually, there's a couple of really sweet-looking World War II RTS-style games coming out in the near future. Ooh, these Volks Grenadiers are super clustered up. They are going to take the building here, but they're going to have to fall back. Yeah, a couple of really cool RTSs. There's Steel Division Normandy 44, which is made by Eugen, the same people who brought us Ruse, which is a fantastic World War II RTS. That was great. And they also brought us War Game, European Escalation, and all of that series. Which I actually was a fan of. I played quite a lot of those games, mostly Ruse, but also the War Game series, and I thought they were really good. So I am hyped about Steel Division Normandy 44. It's in beta right now, and I believe it's going to release in about a month or so, something like that, maybe a bit less even. So that's pretty cool. And then there's also Sudden Strike 4, which is apparently, I think, coming out in August. And I was a big fan of Sudden Strike 2, played that a little bit back in my day. And yeah, Sudden Strike 4 looks to be a pretty spicy RTS actually. A lot of cool stuff going on with that one. So definitely a more realism. I think the Sudden Strike series has always tried to get a bit of realism in there. I remember it being super unforgiving. Like if you send your infantry out in front of an MG, they just kind of all die. It's not like Company of Heroes where they can get pinned and then fall back and like they just die in droves. But anyway. Looks like the American player is going to be pushing up pretty hard up in the northwest, actually, and things beginning to start getting a bit claustrophobic here for Lieutenant Baumy. His units are kind of all getting damaged up and traded down, like, all across the map, and this WC-51 actually has been providing sick value here, with the rifleman decapping, it's been swinging fights, it's been forcing back bolts from cover and things. It's pretty sweet. So I do like what I'm seeing so far from Chessmaster. He seems to be playing this one out quite nicely. Lieutenant Tech here, going to be the tech of choice for Chessmaster here. So the BAR-equipped officer is now moving out onto the field. Oh, he's going to get into this building and begin peppering down these folks. That's the sound of the BAR. Horrendous damage being wrought. And the Kugelwagen bravely going to come on in here. Uh-oh, is he still chasing these rear Ash? Yeah, I was going to say that Kugelwagen has to lay low. Whoa, these folks need to GTFO. Both of these squads here just turbo low and under the arc of a BAR that they're not going to be able to answer here. Baumy going to get the fallback there. Rifleman from another building going to pick off another one of these Volks. No risk of a squad wipe, but definitely taking more damage than you'd like there is Baumy, who's up to 4 squads of Volks actually. Going for reasonably Volk-heavy configuration here. But you have to think, so far, Chessmaster, the story of this game, Chessmaster just getting slightly more efficient engagements, using a slightly left-field tactic with the WC-51, has given him a lot of map control. He's now controlling a lot of the resources. I'm kind of amazed he's not ahead on the scoreline, but I think he will be, you know, soonish, if he can just kind of capture one of these points. Looks like he's going to use that Lieutenant Tech, has a 50 cal out on the field, going to put it in a premium building here. So that machine gun is now getting set up, and that's going to start wreaking havoc here. You have to think, with all of the units stuck under the arc here. These Volks just need to fall back immediately. The 50 cal does real damage. And there's Rifleman hooning in here as well. MG34 going to move on into the hood, but I mean, this is not a very good position. STG is beginning to come up on the Volks actually, meaning that they can do some pretty good damage at these point-blank ranges. But I feel like Baumy here just has not enough units on the front line. Too many units falling back or reinforcing. And this is going to be a hard opening to the game for him. He's going to be considerably behind on resources. And I imagine we'll see the WC-51 get, you know, retired in a second. Withdraw and refit. You may get used on that truck here momentarily. Panzer II Luke's going to come onto the queue here for Lieutenant Baumy, as expected. So we're going to see the Panzer II going to come on out into the field. And that actually is going to help a lot. You know, there's no captain. So Captain Tech, you know, not going to be a threat here. No Stuart, no AT gun, none of that nonsense. So this Panzer II actually is kind of effective against all these units up here in the top right. So it's going to be on Chessmaster to answer the Panzer II when it comes out. I mean, he hasn't scouted the mechanized company, but well, yeah, he hasn't scouted it, but you know, there's a strong possibility that it exists, and I'd be amazed if a player of Chessmaster's caliber was, you know, not cognizant of that. A lot of action going on across the map here, a lot of points exchanging hands and whatnot. I'm just trying to keep on top of it with the casting here. A lot of BARs actually coming up on these riflemen, so it looks like weapon racks have been done now for the American player. Let's just quickly take a look here at the tech. Anything? Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, interesting times. I kind of can't believe that throughout all this, Baumy's actually managed to maintain a ticket advantage. I feel like he's been taking, that like field control has not been his, but he has actually maintained control of the crucial VPs. This Panzer II probably wants to get stuck into these riflemen, getting a bit confused out there. Oh, this Storm Pan is actually quite low, caught out in the open by 2 squads of riflemen with BARs. I don't know how many BARs, looks like maybe just 1 on each squad. They're going to fall back here. There are some mines here, so they may drag these riflemen out over the mines, and I don't think they're going to get squad wiped, so that's pretty close. Panzer II, you can hear the 2cm autocannon firing right now. Oh god, looks like it just went out way out into fog of war here, completely unsupported, wanted to find the ambulance, does find that, but this Panzer II now a little bit stricken, probably should be able to get out okay though. There's no hard AT answers available for Chessmaster, so actually the Panzer II kind of going to get away with this. I feel like he really shouldn't have gotten away with that, but he has. That was kind of lucky, if anything. I think if Chessmaster had like even just, I don't know, like 1 more AT style unit there, or a Zook on any of his squads, then this Panzer II probably doesn't survive. But Baumy gets away with it for now. And he has a triple cap. What is this madness? There are American units like in his backfield capping, but somehow he maintains like a stranglehold over the VPs. The American player is now trailing by, 72 tickets. 75. This is brutal. I'm kind of amazed, actually. I am kind of amazed. And, okay, so I've missed a squad wipe on some Volks. Sorry about that. Action all over the map. These things do happen sometimes when casting. On a map which is very broad, like the Gleize Breakout, it is super easy to miss sometimes when there's action going on everywhere. Anyway, Incendiary going to come over the wall, flails on into the 50 cal squad, 2cm autocannon rounds and a Kugelwagen on support. Looks like they're going to try and fall back, but there are Volks here, and they actually kill the gun carrier. Oh, they eliminate another man. There's a slim chance that this gets squad wiped. It is slim. Oh, any of these rifle hits could do it. Oof, gets out of there with a pixel. So a very nicely executed MG displace, if you like, on that one there. And this Panzer II continues to be unanswered. Now, rear echelons finally have a Zook. So, and let's check these riflemen. They may... Okay, there's no other Zook. Okay. And it looks like Chessmaster is actually kind of flatlining on munitions. So all his anti-Panzer II hopes rest on this rear echelon squad, and they're actually super wounded. The lack of that ambulance being felt. Okay, the ambulance is here. Looks like a replacement has arrived, but he's just not healed these rear esh, which is risky. Okay, so he gets up into the building, should get a hit on the Panzer II here. Oh, he's going to just fall back. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of damage here, and doesn't want to lose his rear esh. That makes a lot of sense. Major Tech actually is coming out. That seems like early Major Tech actually. So for all that HOI Chessmaster has not been able to control the VPs, he has had a pretty good... I mean, he's had like exclusive rights over this fuel point and has actually like been harassing and taken this fuel point, I believe, for some amount of the game, as well as just having good map control apart from the VPs. So I guess his fuel has been accelerated. Plus he did retire the WC-51, so that's additional fuel for him. So yeah, it looks like we do have Major Tech out on the field, and that has been immediately scouted here. Infantry unit being wiped out. I think that was Rifleman going down. God damn it, there's just action going on like all across the map right now. I should probably focus and try and frame it correctly. Good casting for the win! And this kind of desperate struggle for mid continues, but the American player is still being bled down. The scoreline gap keeps increasing. Baumy doing a pretty good job of controlling, 2 or more VPs at almost all times this game. Goes up to 2 Kettenwerfers. So I guess he's feeling pretty concerned about the retire and refit thing going on. And he's seen Major Tech, so I guess he's a little bit afraid of a fast Sherman. And that is a legitimate concern. Obviously, he can't see what we can see, which is that Chessmaster doesn't have the fuel right now. But these 2 Rakettenwerfers will probably stand him in good stead in about 2-3 minutes' time, when the Sherman will be on the queue and on the battlefield. Generally speaking, Chessmaster has been doing a good job keeping his units alive and things like that. I'm going to crack the tack. I just actually can't quite believe how Baumy's managed to navigate the game to this situation. It seemed like Chessmaster was everywhere, doing everything, harassing and doing all, just being really good. But with the addition of the Panzer II, everything's just completely flipped around. Might be yeah, good wipe on these Volks here. So that is at least something. Baumy does have the manpower to replace those Volks if he wants, and I would like to see him do so. 2 squads of Volks on a map this broad, on a built-up map like this is 2 squads of Volks probably not enough in my opinion. But anyway, looks like Baumy going to go ahead and grab another Vermac Schlepper here. So that's probably going to be for the Schwerpanzer HQ. So he may save and get some Obersoldaten. I think that could be a really strong choice right now. My god, has he still only got the 1 Zook? Okay, this Panzer II is taking Zook hits to the face. This is not a good trading situation for this Panzer II. So, okay, yeah, Baumy is going to just... He should disengage right now. Or has he found the sweet spot where he's out of range? Okay, he's found the sweet spot. That's fine. But yeah, I can't believe, okay, so the Major has a Zook as well. I feel like... Okay, so I guess HOI Chessmaster has to save for a Sherman, and that has to be his hard AT. But I feel like HOI Chessmaster is kind of being punished a little bit for going for the Lieutenant Tech. Yeah, sure, the 50 cal has been useful. Actually, he's up to 2 of them now. And this is a map where I like having access to MGs for sure. But I feel like if he'd have been able to have an AT gun... I don't know, actually, this is not a very good map for AT guns either, so... I suppose I understand HOI Chessmaster's predicament against this Panzer II. It just feels like this Panzer II has just kind of been able to dominate the game since it arrived. And Chessmaster still finds himself under a triple cap right now. Actually, he's down at like 250, sub 250 tickets at the 15-minute mark. His opponent are still up on 476. You know, this is kind of getting a little bit worrisome now for Baumy. If he's going to have a chance in the mid and late game, he's going to have to try and take some VPs here. Oh, the rear Ash desperately trying to get more hits onto this Panzer II, but they will be forced back. Oh my god, I can't believe he just put them in this building. He should actually retreat them. They are on like a pixel of health. So they need to GTFO. Let's crack the tack here and just get an overview of the situation. We can see Rifleman pushing up in the west over here, going to be grabbing some ground. There is an MG34 in the hood, but that's probably not going to be enough to stop them. Let's just see, has grenade research finished now for... okay, no, actually still no grenades. So that MG34 may be okay against those Riflemen. Depends how that fight comes together, depends what the support is, and depends if it can catch the Rifleman in the arc. Looks like... Oh, no, there, no, look, no. Okay, Rifleman getting up in the building, going to take out this MG34, so a bit of loss there for Baumy, who still hasn't replaced any of his Volks that he lost. And now, actually, his roster just looking kind of small. I'm a little concerned for him. Actually, he's back-teched a little. He's gone back for the battle group at HQ, so no Schwerpanzer at HQ, and now there's a Sherman coming. And there's just a big force imbalance here. If you look at the top left, look at the top right. I am pretty concerned for Baumy right now. I think the American player is about to hit a sort of peak of power. And that's going to be quite scary. Are these Volks going to grab the MG? I feel like it looks like it's set up with the arc facing that way, so a grab could be pretty smart here. Incendiary comes down, going to force Chessmaster to move, but nothing too severe there. Panzer II still kicking ass, 10 kills, nearly 2 stars of bet on that. 2 stars, remember, a pretty crucial veterancy level for the Panzer II, because that's when its DPS ramps up a lot on account of its rate of fire being increased. And here comes the Sherman. All hopes now for Chessmaster lie on this unit. If this unit does something stupid and gets killed by 2 Rakettenwerfers, this is going to be dire circumstances for the American player. But failing that, I mean, look at this roster in the top right, and then look at this roster in the top left, and I know which army I like better. Like, Chessmaster here set up to deliver a Hadouken punch into the forces of Lieutenant Baumy. For those of you nerds out there who are just like, the Hadouken isn't a punch. Like, I do know that. That's why I quite like saying Hadouken punch, because it's kind of like ironically awful. But yeah, I believe it's the Shoryuken is the punch. The Hadouken is the ball of energy. So the Sherman comes along, immediately gets the Panzer II, gets some good hits on it. He needs to get one more shot. Rakettenwerfer in the hood though does tag that one. Where are the Volks? Okay, there are Volks here, but they're actually pinned. So no chance for a Shrek. Smoke going to come down here to block the Rakettenwerfer from taking another shot, but somehow, out of all this, the Panzer II does survive. That unit is still slinking around over there. So Storm Pioneers have hooked up with it, and that will start repairing. Mixing in a mortar as well here, actually, as Chessmaster, and I really like that. That was like the one thing missing from his composition, was some indirect fire. Now he has that with this mortar, so I do like that choice a lot. That's really cool, because now he has like MGs, he has hardcore infantry, he has some good officer support, he's got a great tank. It's just a really nicely balanced force here for Chessmaster, which should stand him in really good stead. Baumy adding on a light gun? Really? Uh-oh, does he realize his MG is getting pinged down? He does, and he's going to get it out of that building before it collapses. That building, of course, on pixels of health, so... saving the MG34 there, very nice. Not at all sure what I think of back-teching here to get a light gun. I mean, really? Really? Okay, alright, so he's going for the Command Panther. That's why he didn't go for the Schwerpanzer HQ, so... Special Operations Doctrine has been picked, actually. He picked that, like, I'm not sure even when, it was like a while ago, but I don't think I mentioned it, so... Command Panther is going to be the tech choice, I suppose, for Baumy. And I don't hate that. Rifleman here just going to get gunned down. The Sherman probably going to want to relocate to find that Panzer II here momentarily. It has been repaired, and it's going to roll on out. Man, you can say what you like about Company of Heroes 2. A lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about it, which I think now, in the current state of the game, is totally undeserved. But the audio design... And even the graphics are just really sweet, but the audio design is great. Like, the tanks sound like tanks. They sound nice and heavy, and like an MG42 cutting through the silence in the distance. Sounds exactly as it should. You know, it all just... The audio design in this game is fantastic. Even all the voices and stuff, you know, the voice acting is pretty good, even though I wish that we could have native languages, like German-speaking German, Russian-speaking Russian. It's all pretty cool. Whoa, he's adding in a motor car. Oh, I like this a lot. Yeah, I like this a lot. He's adding in a Scot. And Chessmaster's army continues to diversify and become more threatening, if you ask me. What is up with this guy? Oh, okay, there's just like one member of this Rakettenwerfer team just standing around being invisible in the open. That's hilarious. Okay, he gets revealed now. Oh, this is really awkward for him. Just gonna die. What on earth was he doing out there? Company of Heroes, we love you. Okay, so the Panzer II is going to poke in here. There are Zooks up in the building. Meanwhile, out in the western flank, it looks like Axis forces going to be resurgent here. Kugelwagen and some Volks going to be moving in, but actually the Sherman going to move across into the western flank. Will push back this poke here from Baumy. The Kugelwagen just going to slink away once again, but this means that the Panzer II can pretty much get in there. Wow, loses the mortar team. Did the Ligue just kill the mortar team? Wow, 3 kills and a mortar team has been destroyed by that Ligue. So, okay, fair enough. I don't know what I'm talking about. I was skeptical about the Ligue, but it has already provided significant value to Lieutenant Baumy here. So, okay, Scott has rolled into town. This thing is, like, deceptive, okay? The shells don't look particularly great. Like, nothing about this unit looks particularly great, but it does so much damage. Like, it absolutely can and will wipe your squads, and as we've just seen, it can even ping a Panzer II that's sitting around. Oh, the Storm Pioneers! And there we go. That's how the Scott makes its living. Just giving your squads. And, you know, the rate of fire on this thing is pretty punchy. It's pretty consistent, you know. Those shells are pretty nasty. Baumy at the moment floating some 500 odd manpower. How much does he need? 560. So he wants to just grab this Panther, like, now, and then he can actually start replacing his reasonably diminutive infantry lineup here. Looks like continuing skirmishing over here on the other flank. Command Panther going to roll on onto the map, and this unit right now is, as I often like to say, the kingmaker on the field, as in pretty much the entire battle revolves around this Panther right now. It's by far the strongest unit on the field, and can, with the correct micro and the correct engagements and proper support, take out, you know, the Scott, the Stuart, and, you know, erode down these infantry units too. So the Command Panther, definitely the strongest unit on the field right now, and if it gets taken out early or for very little value, then that is probably going to be game deciding. Lieutenant Baumy is more or less all in on this Panther right now. So we'll have to see what he's able to get done with it. Now that Ligue field gun is still actually being quite useful, up to 5 kills now, and a reasonable amount of veterancy given that it's quite young and that Ligues take like ages to rank up in this game because they cost loads for some inexplicable reason. Lol. Sorry, right, okay. I just can't bring myself to be enthusiastic about the Ligue gun. This Scott is just doing damage here. Clunking hits into that MG team. Panther actually, though, does find a sweet angle to come in here and harass the Scott. And it looks like Chessmaster is not on top of it. The Scott is super fragile as units go, so he has to be super careful about that. There is a Major here with Zooks getting some damage, and I think that's going to actually enable the Scott to sneak away here. And actually, you know what? The Sherman's in town. The Command Panther's down on super low health. This is, like, pretty worrying times. Okay, the Panther's down to, like, 25% health now. Still a Zook in the hood. Still a Sherman in the hood. And this is absolutely worth a dive here from Chessmaster, who can almost afford to replace his medium tank if he loses it. The Panther is worth a ton more here. The Sherman, when set to AB, is pretty pokey. Why are you pushing in with the Panther? GTFO, Baumy. Get the Panther out of there. This is your game. Okay, he gets the Panther out there on a pixel of health. I'm super concerned about it right now, though. Okay, he is going to actually manage to exfiltrate it and get it back to his mechanized regiment HQ where he can repair it. But damn, that was some, like, that was nearly a throw there, I think, from Baumy. Baumy just, I mean, it's okay to take a dive and find the Scott and try and kill it, because that's something, you know, you can do a lot of damage in very little time. The Panther is durable enough to make that happen. But you can't sit around, you know, after the situation looks bad and just kind of keep trying to get it done. Like, if as soon as the situation looks bad, you have to get that Panther out of there. And that was just like, that was risky, you know, for sure. With different dice rolls there, that Panther could have died. You know, that was so close. So I got to say, I'm a little skeptical about the decisions regarding that Command Panther there from Baumy. But, you know, thankfully for us, he has gotten away with it. He is going to be, what, has he not, did he not buy the mechanics? Oh, no. Okay, so he hasn't bought mechanics. This is going to take a little while longer to repair than I thought. Looks like the Panzer II and the Kubel also, there's quite a lot of repairs here, so he should probably think about purchasing these if he gets a spare moment. I do appreciate that he needs his manpower to replace his infantry lineup and you know, buy additional units, but those mechanics would have been useful. I guess I just assumed that they were up. The Scott has been repaired. The Sherman has been repaired. Is this a second Sherman as well? Yeah, that's a second Sherman as well. So the American player set to rock and roll, and 2 Shermans with armor-piercing shells with you know, a couple of Zooks on backup means that this Command Panther, not nearly as pokey as it could have been, gets repaired pretty quickly though. Storm Pioneers with the repair tool upgrade, pretty good at repairing, it turns out. But anyway, let's take a look at the scoreline here. triple cap right now for Chessmaster, and if you look at the map, you can see the story, predominantly red. So right now, Lieutenant Baumy, with everything to do, he has the smaller army, he has the less diverse army, in my opinion. He has just the less sophisticated, inferior unit composition. I'm just going to say it's an inferior unit composition. But he does have the Command Panther. OKW units are quite resilient, and they can get the job done. So, what is this Panther doing though? It's riding out into Fog of War. What is it with Axis players and playing their Panthers so aggressively? How is this ever going to be a good move? All you're going to do is allow a lot of veterancy and damage. Veterancy to be scored by your opponent and damage to be scored onto your Panther. You know, like, what was the advantage in moving his Panther along this line, okay? He could have just sat it here, eroded his opponent's infantry, and it's much safer. Now the Panther is flustered, it has to be falling back. If the Shermans were in town, they could consider coming in and making a move, although it's probably not damaged enough yet. What is with this Panther micro? Seriously, it's not like me to just lay into a player and criticize them terribly, but I mean, this is the most important unit. If you're not microing this right, you will lose the game. So, like, Baumy, buddy, it's on you. You got to get this Panther right. Anyway, here come the Shermans. They're going to rock up into town. Looks like these Volksgrenadiers have to get out of the building. Uh-oh, Baumy. There we go. They do get out of the building. That was well timed by Baumy. So I have to say, yeah, he's mostly been on top of his infantry micro, you know, in his defense. But, man, the Zooks are just stalking the Panther. The Panther comes forward, not back. Baumy! Oh, God, this is probably a dead Command Panther. I mean, 2 Shermans here on nearly full health. A couple of Zooks, a lot of damage on this Panther already. No option for smoke or anything like that. Not even an option for a combat blitz because this Panther, you know, not even that one yet. It does manage to get out of there. Mark vehicle comes down. He's going to come forward with it. You're insane. You're insane, Baumy. Oh my God, these guys have got Zooks, Baumy. Damn. I mean, like, you know, he was able to come forward and spray one of these squads with a machine gun like spray and fire a shell into these squads, okay, which basically did no damage, and like, and okay, no damage was inflicted on the Command Panther, but he still invited 2 more Zook shots, and like, he basically just got lucky there that the Panther's not in even more critical condition. Like, you have to be careful. I don't like that. Anyway.
A medium tank was just lost.
Okay, so one of the Shermans does get taken out at last. Was that from a Lig hit? That's one for the replay. I feel like a Lig hit got that. I'd be amazed if it was. But yeah, so one of the Shermans does go down. Another one on the queue, though. Where's the Scot in all this? Okay, it's been repaired. Okay, he really needs to crew this Scot because it could be firing useful shells here. So Chessmaster, also his micro being taxed here. Both of these players, actually. Just a couple of errors beginning to creep in. And that's normal when you get to this stage in the game when you've got like many more units to micro and so forth. But still, this was the top-rated game on the live game lobby. And I have cast both of these players before, I think. So I am slightly surprised to see these mistakes. But, you know, they're both far better than I, so... I always feel like it's always a weird thing, isn't it? When you're not as good as... It's like if you're watching football and you see like a professional footballer make an obvious mistake and you're just like, oh mate, you should have done that, you know. God, what you clearly wanted to do was that, and it's just like, could you have done that? No. So it just feels weird like criticizing people like that. And it's the same with Company of Heroes too. I'm always just like, well, what this player needed to do was that, and it's obvious for me sitting up here in my caster's seat. But it's a very different matter when you're the one playing the game, as we all know. So, anyway, looks like the Scot has been recrewed. It is now flumping shells into these Volksgrenadiers. Bonk. And they're going to have to play it a little bit cautiously if they don't want to meet a grisly end on the end of a Scot shell. And if I correct the tack, there's a moment of quiet here. You can see the Axis player definitely has been focusing all of his efforts into this area of the map most recently. He's going to go for this VP. And it makes sense. If he can hold this location right here, then he basically holds 2 of the VPs. And of course, as we all know, that is the bare minimum that you need to get done to win a game of Company of Heroes 2. So I don't mind the choice here for Baumy. I'd love to see him just harass, like, even... Has he still got his Kubelwagen? Yeah, okay, yeah, he does still have a Kubelwagen. And if he would send that out to the left flank, I would love it if it would just capture that point. That would be pretty sexy, to be honest. So he does have the option to do that. Maybe he will. I'd like to see him send just something, you know, like a squad of infantry. In fact, to be honest, speaking of squads of infantry, ever since he lost, like, that... one of his, the last squad of Volks that he lost, I have been super concerned, because now he's down on 2 squads of Volks and a squad of Storm Pioneers, and those are really the only, like, capturing style squads that he has. The only squads that are really comfortable going forward and taking ground. The Rakettenwerfers can do it under camo, but they don't really want to. And, you know, the MG and the light guns, they really don't want to. Uh-oh, the light gun's getting a bit caught out here. A couple of squads of riflemen going to be able to punch through and force the indirect fire teams here to reposition and fall back. Panzer II is here for the cover, though. And that Panzer II has been pretty good this game, hasn't it? Coming up for its 3rd star of veterancy. A couple of near misses, but still alive with that unit. And in fact, you know, the Kubelwagen as well. So, you know, I will commend Baumy's light vehicle micro for sure. He seems to be on point with those units. I haven't seen him make any grievous errors with the Panzer II or the Kubel whatsoever. It's just this Panther, he seems it's just awkwardly in the way again. But anyway. The scoreline situation, by the way, 240 for Baumy over the 172 for Chessmaster. So Chessmaster has like reduced the gap, but still behind here as we move into the late game for sure. The Command Panther does grab itself a star of veterancy. That is super relevant because that does give it the tank blitz, although Baumy flatlining on Muni right now. No munitions available to fuel that. God damn, just a big infantry wave here coming forward from the American forces. These Volks in a pretty bad way, but they will GTFO before any danger can come to them. The light guns have repositioned further back, but they're still in range. Actually, it might just be this one because it has 2 stars of veterancy. Does that increase its range? Oh, it's veterancy 1 that increases range. Well, what do I know? Anyway, so at least the vetted light gun able to fire, and now they both shuffle forward, so they should be able to take a few more shots here. And I have to say, if 2 victory points are in range of 1 position here for the 2 lives, I actually don't mind the double live pick here from Baumy. Usually, as you all know, I'm super skeptical of building lives, especially 2 of them. I mean, really, they're so expensive, they take up so much unit cap, they fire so slowly, they take so long to pay for themselves, they're totally rubbish compared to pretty much any other indirect fire weapon team. But they are actually making some sense on this map, and Baumy is deploying them quite effectively and looking after them nicely. God damn, there's just a ton of combat going on like everywhere right now. But for now, it is definitely Chessmaster fighting the good fight. Oh, was that a Jackson? No, going to go for another Sherman. Okay, there was a Jackson on the queue for a moment there. But he's going to think better of it. And yeah, Baumy here having a really hard time getting out onto the map and grabbing any of the VPs. This is why I'd love to see him just pressure west as well, because it's quite easy for the American player just to focus his efforts on you know, deflecting his advances here. Anyway, the Command Panther's just going to come in turbo deep again. Really wants the Scott. He's rotating, so he's not shooting. This vehicle micro, ugh. And the Scott's somehow going to survive again. Uh-oh, so okay, anti-tank vehicle grenade manages to come off of one of these veteran rifleman squads, does break the engine on the Command Panther. Here comes a Sherman, cycling on in, going to try and get into the weaker rear armor. These Raketwerfers need to turn, and they do. The Sherman now turbo low, marked vehicle comes down, the Panther up all over it. Another Sherman joins the fray though. First Sherman goes down, and this Panther is on death's door. He needs to start turning it. No! Ah! Start turning it. You got to. Okay, so if he'd have reversed it like this, then the front armor would still have been facing that Sherman, which may or may not have made a difference there. So again, I'm going to have to be critical of Baumy's micro on that unit. But you know, here's the thing: that Panther did survive nearly long enough to make up for the 225 fuel required for a second one. So he's going to have to survive about 2 minutes here on his present rate of fuel income, and then he can call in a second Command Panther. So this game, even though the Command Panther has gone down, and that is of course a massive swing, this game may not yet be over. Gun crew just got wiped out. I believe that was the American mortar going down. Yeah, that was the American mortar going down. And Baumy wasting no time going immediately for the salvage. He definitely wants all the fuel he can get here to enable him to get to that Panther a little faster. So that is actually going to make a big difference. If there's any other wrecks or discarded weapons around the place that the OKW player can scavenge, now is a time when that ability is going to make a lot of difference, because every single thing that he scavenges is roughly equal to maybe 30 seconds of fuel income, and that is literally going to accelerate his access to his next Panther command tank by that much. So that is pretty important actually. Under a triple cap though, down at 107 under 172. HOI Chessmaster now firmly in control of this game. Still for my money with the superior, larger, better composition. I much like this configuration that Chessmaster has navigated his way to, and I like the way he's gotten here throughout the game, to be honest. Going for the WC-51 in the early game, using that to get early field control, keeping it alive so that he can retire and refit it, getting into a fast major, getting to a relatively fast Sherman. I mean, it's not super fast, but it's fast-ish. All seems to have stood him in very good stead this game, so you know, I am pretty impressed with the way Chessmaster has taken this game on. I think that the Panzer II actually hit him really hard, and was pretty much the only reason why. What is this Panzer II doing? Oh dearie me, this really ought to be a dead Panzer II. Had no business being that far out on the map. Have to think that's a misclick. Now finds itself in a clusterfuck of Zooks and Shermans and anti-tank vehicle grenades, and the Panzer II will go down. So here comes the Command Panther.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
But I mean, Baumy just doesn't really have enough squads. I mean, he's really only got 2 squads that are happy coming forward and capturing points, and capturing points is what he needs doing right now. He's lost the Kugelwagen somewhere as well. Did kind of miss the Kugelwagen's demise, and looks like it died here. Probably died taking on that mortar squad earlier, something like that. But yeah, Baumy undoubtedly in a terrible place here. 63 supply under 88, no field control to speak of. He knows it. He's going to choose this moment to leave the game, and you have to say fair enough on that decision. But a well-fought battle, I think, from Baumy. I think fair to say the better player won here, at least judging by this game alone. I think Chessmaster's decision-making was really smart. I liked his composition, and I liked the way he approached nearly every aspect of the game. As I was saying earlier, I think the only thing Chessmaster could have done better is perhaps have a better answer for the Panzer II. But I think on this map, I think I actually quite liked his choice of Lieutenant Tech, because if you're not going to go for a Stuart, and that was clearly never the plan here for Chessmaster, I don't think the AT gun is actually super good on this map. I mean, there's so many line of sight blockers. Are you really going to try and use AT guns to take out a Panzer II in this kind of environment? It's like, it's doable, but it's far from ideal. So I quite like the tech choice he took. It did leave him, you know, open to being exploited by that Panzer II for like quite a long time. And you did see it was during that time that Baumy was able to open up a score lead and, you know, take command of large areas of the field. And, you know, Chessmaster looked a little flustered during that time when the Panzer II was out. But then as soon as the first Sherman arrived, I feel like from then on in, Chessmaster was basically always ahead. And Baumy, taking a few core infantry losses, there was a moment, you know, he opened with quad Volks here and never built any more after that. And, you know, went for double Rakettenwerfer a little too early. Like, he could have squeezed in another squad of Volks before going double Raket, and he couldn't have known that for sure, and I guess he wanted to be better safe than sorry. And that does make sense, but, you know, we as observers, and, you know, we can see that those 2 Rakettenwerfers were a little early. I think the 2 Leigs were an interesting choice. I mean, one of them has 3 kills, nearly 1 level of veterancy. One has 16 kills and, like, 2.5 levels of veterancy. And they still cost 330 manpower, right? Yeah, and they still take up 9 unit cap. Like, did they pay for themselves, or would those have been better as, like, you know, just other stuff, like Volks, or even Obersoldaten? Like, because, I don't know, Obersoldaten are super good against infantry, of course, and once you start vetting them up, they are, like, insanely good. So they do counter, like, a lot of what you see up here in the top right. You know, the only thing that they're super worried about are the Shermans and the Stuart, or Obersoldaten. Obersoldaten also useful for holding points, because remember, you can booby trap, although Lieutenant Baumy never really with any great surplus of munitions, so not sure if he would have gotten any real utility out of that booby trap ability, but I don't know. Just interesting to think about. I suppose I suppose his plan going into this game was always to get the Command Panther, so he was never going to go for the Schwerpanzer HQ, so Obersoldaten were basically off the menu. So, okay, alright, I guess that makes sense. So I guess, yeah, losing a couple of squads of infantry was unfortunate for Baumy. Not replacing them, I think, also unfortunate. And as for the commander pick, I mean, he really only used the Command Panther, didn't he? I didn't really see any other utility. I'm not sure I even saw an infiltration tactics grenade package get used. So, I don't know, like, how effective was this commander choice? For my money, not particularly effective, actually. This could have been an okay map for Panzer Fusiliers, was what I was thinking of. And that commander, I don't know. Yeah, possibly. But I suppose he didn't have him on the roster anyway, so. Yeah, I guess that concludes my thoughts on this game. Thanks very much to our 2 players for a very entertaining skirmish. And this, for now, is Magpie 842 signing out.